Ain't no thing but a chicken wing.
I'm sorry?
Ain't nothing but a chicken wing. You haven't heard that for a long time, right?
I have never heard that.
Really? Oh, come on.
Never.
Okay. Well, anyway, welcome to the new lexicon. Okay. So Carolyn, you were in Hong Kong. That's where your parents discovered you or found you or were with you?
Yes.
How did that happen?
My parents were American expatriates. And after World War II, my mom and dad, who were born and raised in Honolulu, Hawaii, they moved to Hong Kong to start a business and start a family. So the kids all grew up in Hong Kong, but we were American citizens and English was always our first language. So my Chinese is definitely lacking.
So you were born in Hong Kong or born in Hawaii?
I was born in Hong Kong. I was adopted by my parents. The first three in our family were all adopted in Hong Kong.
All right. And then how long did you stay there in Hong Kong?
I moved to the States when I was 19. So I lived in Hong Kong up to 19 years of age. And then I moved to Hawaii to go to University of Hawaii.
Come on now. I went there too.
No kidding?
Yeah, I went to Manoa.
Manoa, yes. Which year?
I was there from 64 to 68. I was doing there back in the
little before my time.
Yeah, no, I was back in the Nam days. Back in the Nam days, you know. So, yeah, right. I was at the UH.
Yes, UH, awesome. And I met my mentor there, Lamoy Char.
Well, okay, now Lamoy Char, now is that a man or a woman?
It's a lady.
Okay.
She was born in mainland China, and she went to an art college. When we say art college in China, it means from, let's see, first grade all the way up to 12th grade.
Right. So
it's not like a university.
You're like an artist from day one.
Yes. And what she told me was that each year they would concentrate on a different type of art, like maybe one year would be carving jade, one year would be painting landscapes, next year would be contemporary art, so on and so forth. And when I met her in Hawaii, she was teaching the continuing education courses at UH, and she was teaching Chinese brush painting. Now, when I was in Hong Kong, I took 3 years of Chinese brush painting already. So when I went to Hawaii, I found out about her classes and enrolled in them. So it was like continuing on what I had already learned up to that point. And she's the one who, instead of just doing the techniques, learning to paint flowers and birds and such, she incorporated the historical and mythical stories into the paintings to make it more interesting, not just a pretty piece of artwork.
Right. I got you. Now, is that because of her training or because of something that she just intuitively?
I think because we were in Hawaii and she wanted people not to just look at the paintings, that she wanted them to understand about the culture and the history also.
Well, that's very big. It's very big in Hawaii to know your culture and history.
Yes.
So now, how was it like growing up in Hong Kong? I mean, were you out in the streets? Were you just drawing all the time? What was it like?
No, it's just like any kid growing up. My mom always felt that I had a talent for drawing. And she always tried to get me to take Chinese brush painting because she had no talent. For me, it came naturally. And so every year she would get after me to start Chinese brush painting. Well, when you're, 11, 12, 13 years old, the last thing you want to do is spend your summers painting Chinese brush paintings. So she let me enjoy myself until I was 15. And when I was 15, she told me, I'll make you a deal. I told you you couldn't date until you're 17, but if you take Chinese brush painting, you can date right now.
Ooh, you said, okay.
She really knew how to motivate teenagers.
Now, for those of us who don't know, Carolyn, what is Chinese brush painting?
Chinese brush painting, we use that term to, well, there are quite a few different types of Chinese brush painting. Basically, we use watercolor made from either minerals or vegetables, what they call vegetable paints, mineral paints. Vegetable paints would be anything like your indigos, the yellows, those kind of paints, those kind of colors. And the mineral colors would be actually made from crushed lapis, semi-precious minerals like lapis, lazuli, malachite, cinnabar, etc. And those paints, when they dry very jewel tone and opaque. And usually it's used over a base painting to accentuate certain areas, like in a costume, for example. Or if you see some of the Chinese brush paintings of landscapes, the mountains would have the malachite and the lapis paints on the mountains to accentuate them.
Now, that's all I always wanted to ask you. You know, I asked you that question about the mountains and things, but additionally I see the Chinese paintings with the mountains, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you just shared something with me that was so interesting about the types of inks that were on those paintings, but why paint mountains? Is that something, what's the psyche of that? Why is that important?
Well, the Chinese painters, they don't usually paint from realism. Mm-hmm. You know, when you look at a painting, it's always very, very esoteric, it's like you're seeing the scenery, but in a dream. So the big deal is that the painter goes into nature, experiences nature. And when he goes back in his studio, he's painting his experience of nature as opposed to painting the real thing itself.
Oh, okay.
So it's the artist's interpretation. Right. So nothing looks representational.
Well, that's okay by me. I mean, I'm not saying I can never figure it out. It looks like there's always a cloud or something, you know.
Oh, yes. There were always clouds back in China there, you know, especially the paintings of like the Yellow Mountains, paintings of Guilin with all the beautiful mountains rising out of the seas.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that's what that's all about?
Yes.
Now, is that part of the traditional?
Yes, that's very traditional.
Okay, and so now, are you in that particular aspect of the tradition?
No, I did take Chinese brush painting in the with the landscapes. I started out with flowers and birds, then progressed to landscapes. But it wasn't until I would say 1982, 1983 that I started painting the women. I did not paint the women initially because it took too much time. All the robes, it was very long and involved, and the technique used in painting figurative is very, very labor intensive, and I paint on silk. So the paint is watered down till it's like a wash, and you build up the intensity of the paints through successive layers of washes. So for example, to get to the final face with all the eyes and lips in there takes anywhere between 18 to 22 layers of washes just for
So
the
now,
flip
how, so now how do you prepare? I mean, what is your mindset for that? Is there special, you go to a special zone, or you just, that's what you do?
I don't think that I have a particular mindset. I just do it.
Okay.
And it takes however long it takes. And painting on silk is especially laborious. When I paint on paper, you will see some of the images that I sent to you that were done on paper
Yes.
as much faster.
Right.
Painting on silk in like a 20 by 27 piece, 20 inches by 27 inches. If it's of the women with the elaborate robes,
Yes.
that takes somewhere between 6 to 10, 12 weeks, something like that, depending on how intricate the background and the robes are.
Now,
And when there's an animal in there, that kind of makes it even more difficult, more things to do.
so now I want to give you a compliment. I hope you take it as a compliment. I shared your work with someone, and he says, "Oh, that must be computerized."
No.
And I said, "I don't think so."
That would be so simple, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
One day.
it'd be simple. It'd be simpler. I said, "No, she's painting on silk. How could you do that, man?" So I just want to share with you that your work is tight, and that was said by a composition master.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
All right.
That is,
So now, so you're doing these multiple coats. It takes all this time.
yes.
Are you working on one piece at a moment, or you do different ones?
Oh, no. One piece at a time. I'm kind of like a donkey with blinders. I can't multitask. Terrible at multitasking. I once tried to paint 2 paintings at the same time. I figured, well, I'm mixing the paint to do skin tones. I can do this skin tone here and do that skin tone there. Turned out 2 very mediocre paintings.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Well, because I don't have the focus
Oh,
on
I
any
see.
one thing.
Mhm.
And I found that every time I was painting on one, I was thinking of the other one.
Oh, I see. Right.
So I wasn't giving it my all into the one piece.
Right.
And a lot of people say, well, how do you determine the colors in the paintings, in the robes and stuff?
Right.
It's so intuitive. I can't explain to you why I do those colors.
Oh,
And
really?
I work from large areas like the background
Yes.
to the tight areas like the intricate designs on the robes.
Yes.
Every time you put down a color in areas, it affects what you do on the next area. You know,
What do you mean by that? I don't quite.
well, for instance, if I did a background that was kind of grayish blue, there's
Mhm.
certain colors that do better with that
Oh,
background.
yeah. Exactly. Right.
And so every time I put a color down, then it affects the next color I'm going to put on. The next area that I work on will be affected by that color. And then I never make a conscious effort to say, oh, let me do something red over here. You know, I don't start a painting to thinking I'm going to do red robes in the painting. I
Okay.
just let it evolve, make the best decision that way for the painting.
Well, now, in the what I know is like, are you talking about your initial value plan? I mean, you must have some value in the beginning, right?
Well, I start with the background, right?
Oh, I see. Okay, I got you.
So certain backgrounds lend themselves better to certain color
I get you.
palette.
So that if you're talking about you're doing your silk or your gold leaf.
Yes, doing the silk.
Right.
So I usually just mask out the figure in the painting with masking fluid.
Okay.
And then I work on the background first, do all the background work first. And then go into the figure doing the skin tones. After the skin tones, then do the robes. And I never know in the beginning what I'm going to do. or what kind of patterns I'm going to put into the ropes is all intuitive as I go along.
Is there, who's there with you? I know you have somebody with you.
Well, Les is lurking around in the
No,
background.
no. When you're doing your work, when you're doing your painting,
Oh, I see. That's funny. I don't know. I don't know that I do have someone in the background telling me what to do.
Oh, you know who it
Maybe my
is?
teacher.
Yes, what's her name again?
Lamoy
Yeah,
Cha.
it's Lamoy Cha. She said, "Hey, girl, put it like this, do it like that."
I always think about what she says when I do a painting. For example, now I did a series of paintings on the Chinese zodiac, year of the dragon, year of the rooster, this, that.
Yes.
And I remember year of the rooster came up. I wanted to do a painting of a beautiful woman with the rooster in there. She says, now you must never paint a painting with a woman and a chicken or a rooster in there in the same painting. Because in Chinese slang, the slang for prostitute is ji, which is chicken.
Oh.
So the connotation, if you put a beautiful woman with a chicken in there, she's a prostitute.
That makes sense, right?
Yes.
So how did you solve that problem?
I did a little girl with a little chick.
Innocent.
Not a full-grown chicken.
Yeah, they're both innocent, right?
Yes, but also what I did was for a woman born in the year of the rooster, I actually, instead of painting the chicken or rooster in there, I used the phoenix, which is like the counterpart of the rooster. The female counterpart of the rooster is supposedly the phoenix. And the phoenix symbolizes empress or a queen.
Right.
So that makes sense to put her in there.
Yeah, that's cool. And how did you, I mean, that just came to you, or did you research, or?
Oh, my teacher told me that.
Okay.
Yeah, Lamoy. See, everything, now that you mention it, everything that I do, I hear her voice in the back of me telling me, no, that's the right thing to do.
Oh, so maybe she is there when you're doing that stuff.
Yes.
Bringing her back.
Yes. Unfortunately, she passed away in the 90s. And her daughter, she always looked on me like a calabash daughter. I'm not sure if you know what calabash means.
What does that mean?
It's almost like adoptive or foster, but not quite the same. It just means, oh, we're so close. We're like mother and daughter, you know.
Yeah, I got you. Right. We're like sisters from another mother.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
Yes, and her daughter never had artistic ability, but the her granddaughter started exhibiting artistic tendencies at an early age. Skips a generation, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes it does.
Yeah.
So here's a question I have for you. There's two questions, but the first question is, you make your own paints, right? Your own colors.
I don't make them. I think I'm not sure, maybe you read an article. It just means that I don't use the colors straight out of the tube. I mix them.
Oh, okay. That's
all it means. I'm not making the colors myself. No.
I was thinking you had the mortar and pestle, you're grinding stuff up.
Well, the mineral colors, they come in powder form.
Yes.
So those I mix with water and a special glue and apply it that way. But the rest of it, the rest of the watercolors are in tubes that I get. I actually use Chinese and Japanese watercolor.
Okay.
I do use some gouache and some acrylic. So it's pretty much whatever is water-based.
What paints do you buy?
The Chinese and Japanese paints I get from Japan. I just buy them in big quantities. The Chinese paints, I get them from an artist studio in Irvine, I believe. I think it's either Costa Mesa, Irvine, or somewhere like that. Ningye Studios. I'm not sure where they get. They get it from China, I suppose.
And why do you choose those? Are they superior, or you favor those for some
I'm
reason?
just used to working with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they have the Japanese colors are brighter than the Chinese colors.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them dry more opaque than the Chinese watercolors. I use acrylics kind of a little bit, not a whole lot. Mostly I use the iridescent white that I mix with water till there's no color. It's just a sparkle, and I glaze it onto the finished clothing area to give it a silken look in the clothing of the women.
I mean, this is so, you give me such great insight into your process, because your works are so amazing, and all that work you put into it. Like,
Oh, thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Serious, man. It's like I said, you're the real deal. I mean,
I don't know about that.
I do. I mean, they're, you know, you know why I asked about the colors? Because I don't know if you would be interested, but you know, I have a contact at Jerry's Artorama, and they
I
sponsor
bought stuff from them before, I think.
They sponsor artists. They give them colors. Like I did an interview with a guy named Ron Croce.
Uh-huh.
They give him tons of paints.
Really?
Yeah, they give it to him.
Wow. I could use some of the, I'm so specific as to the types of paints that I use, though. Mm-hmm. You know, I like the Daniel Smith watercolors and the Daniel Smith acrylics. They're really nice. I like the texture of it. And so I tend to stick with the brands that I'm used to, because I know exactly.
I know you know exactly what they do.
Yes.
What I'm saying is, you don't have. I mean, they carry different brands.
Okay.
I don't know if they carry your brands. I'm just saying, two things would happen for you. One, you get free paints, and two, you know, they brag about the people that they support. You know, so.
Oh.
Yeah, you know.
Who should I talk to at Jerry's Artorama?
I'll give you the information. His name is Mike. He's the head of the marketing area.
Oh, okay.
And, I did two of his artists. I did a guy named Eric, and I did Ron.
Uh-huh.
Right. So that's like, you know, off camera type stuff. But I asked that question because maybe it could be useful for you.
Okay. Great.
All right. So let's get back to the business here. Now, what is the significance of the silken landscapes? Why do you choose that material to do your landscapes, or is that the way it is?
Well, I don't really do the landscapes on the silk, because the technique for doing landscape lends itself better to paper than silk. It's the women I do on the silk.
Why is that?
Because when you look at the faces and the skin tones of the women on the silk, there's a certain translucency on the silk.
Because of the fabric.
Because of the fabric. Yeah. And the way it blends, the colors blend on the silk, make the women look really beautiful. The skin tones are luminescent, and the clothing with the iridescent colors, it's just beautiful. But it doesn't work that well with landscape paintings.
Right, I can see why.
Works great with flowers.
Right.
Works great with birds. Doesn't work well with landscapes.
Wow, cool.
And so for landscapes, we usually use rice paper or cotton paper or mulberry paper. Mm-hmm.
So now, you know, getting off of the technical side, like, you know, when did you and Les hook up? I mean, what's that all about? How did you guys do that?
Are you sure you want to hear this story?
Hey, you know, it's what makes you fit, right?
Les used to be VP of sales for Addy Galleries way back in the 80s and 90s. Mm-hmm. And they carried my work in their galleries. And at that time, I was under contract to Images International of Hawaii. And we did the LA Art Expo in 1989, I believe that was the year. 1989, we did, and that was in, I think, probably beginning to middle part of October, I believe. And I was supposed to go after that one weekend. Well, first of all, take that backtrack. At Art Expo, Les came around and my marketing director introduced him to me. Now, my marketing director, she's not above using anyone to further her sales. So she said to me, oh, I want you to meet Les Ziba. He's VP of Sales for Addy Galleries. He's the one that writes all the checks for your artwork that they buy from us.
Really?
And she took me aside and she says, get one of your new posters and write something cutesy to him, like to Sexy Les or something like that. So here I am, I'm writing to Sexy Les, who keeps me in furs and diamonds. Because obviously he was writing the checks for my artwork.
Right.
So, well, that whole weekend he would come around when no one was there and he'd say to me, has anyone told you that they love you today?
Ooh.
No. And he says, well, I do.
Oh, man.
What an operator, right?
That's cool, man. You know what I think?
What?
I think he put your manager up to it.
Oh, wow. Maybe he did.
I can't
Maybe
remember.
he did.
I think he did.
Well, anyway, so the Monday was the end of the expo. And Tuesday, my manager and I flew into San Francisco because we were going to have a show that weekend, Saturday and Sunday, at Gallery San Francisco in San Francisco. And Addy Gallery had part ownership of Gallery San Francisco. So that Tuesday we flew in, and 5 hours later, the big earthquake happens in San Francisco.
Oh, man.
You know, the one where the Bay Bridge?
Yeah, I know, the one that closed down the bridge.
That's the one.
Yeah. Right.
And the marina was on fire and all that, right? Well, here we were in the corporate condo in San Francisco, you know, that was owned by Gallery San Francisco and Addy Gallery. And the manager of the gallery, he flees the city. He says, well, you know, all the power is out. There's no hot water. I'm leaving.
Wow.
So Les calls up Gallery San Francisco to see if anything had broken during the earthquake. And that's when he found out that Yolanda, my manager, and I were in San Francisco at the corporate apartments. And he says, where's Don? Why isn't he there helping those women? And he said, well, he just took off. He wanted to go get hot water. He went to Santa Rosa. And so Les recruited his brother, who was in special forces in the army. He figured if they weren't letting people into San Francisco, the brother had special clearance.
Oh.
So with his brother and also Steve Addy, who was the owner of the Addy Galleries, the three of them came into San Francisco to rescue us.
Oh, man.
My knight in shining armor.
Yes, yes.
Yes, story. And I have to tell you, Yolanda and I were so frightened because we were all by ourselves. We didn't know anyone there.
Mm-hmm.
And just to see him walking across the courtyard
right.
to us, wow. You can see why I married the guy.
Yeah, right. You know, man, he went out. He goes all out. I can see.
Yeah. Yes.
That's
how I met Les. Actually, that's how we started.
So like, what painting commemorates that meeting?
I don't really. I should do a painting of that, shouldn't I?
It's like what I do, if you don't have to do it like representation, but maybe symbolically, you know what I mean?
Right. I never thought to do it. Yeah. I'm so into the ancient myths and legends, I don't think about today, as in every day.
Well, now these ancient myths and legends, are they swarming around your head? Are you living inside of them or are they inside you? What is it?
They're inside me. They're
Mhm.
part of me. I grew up with those legends.
Like,
And
give me an example. What legend, what type of legend are you talking about? What do you mean?
um, for example, some of the images that I sent to you, there's one with a guy and two cheetahs on gold leaf, and his name is Hou Yi.
Yeah, 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 I know that one, yeah.
That's a great legend, that one. Um, it- Chinese people believe that when the earth was first created, there were 10 suns circling the skies, causing great havoc
Mm-hmm.
and famine. So the emperor called on his favorite archer, Yi, to shoot down 9 of these suns and leave the one we know today.
Oh.
So Yi was successful in doing so, and he shot down 9 of these suns. And as a reward, he was given the potion of immortality, and he became emperor after the old emperor died. So that's part of the legend there. And then the legend goes on to talk about his wife, Chang'e,
Uh-huh.
famous lady. So his wife, when he became emperor, he turned out to be a very cruel man, and he taxed the peasants relentlessly. So his wife, Chang'e, oh yes, I'm sorry, I gotta backtrack. Did I tell you that he was given the potion of immortality?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that because that means he'd still be alive.
Yes, yes, well, he is still alive.
Oh,
He's
okay.
living in the sun.
Oh, okay,
The
okay.
legend is. But anyway, he was given the potion of immortality. He became emperor after the old emperor died. But when he turned out to be a cruel emperor, so his wife Chang'e decided that if her husband lived forever, they would never be free of him. So one night, she stole his potion of immortality and she drank it, but she drank too much. And she started to rise up into the night sky. And people in China and everywhere, they believe Chang'e lives there in the moon now. Goes up and she's living in the moon. And every year we celebrate the Autumn Moon Festival. We drink a toast to the lady in the moon,
Mm-hmm.
and we eat mooncakes shaped like rabbits. If you've been in San Francisco and in Chinatown, you'll see the boxes of mooncakes. Have you ever seen those?
No, I never have. No, I never.
Oh, okay. So it's very well known. And they say on that night, when you look up at the moon, you see not the man in the moon that we know in the Western culture. We see the rabbit in the moon, because the rabbit is living up there with Chang'e.
Oh.
And they say when you look at the moon, you'll see the shadow of the rabbit with the mortar and pestle.
Yes.
And formulating some more potion of immortality for his mistress to drink.
Oh.
So that's one of the very well-known.
I like that. That's a good story. And I like that because, you know, for me, you are a visual storyteller. And by telling the story, it gives your art a meaning.
Yes, yes. And these stories go back, you know, it's like how you know Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Sleeping Beauty, all the kids in America grew up with these stories. We grew up with Chang'e and her rabbit.
Right. Well, this is the thing. I mean, like you're still telling good stories. And a lot of people over here, they're not doing that anymore. So now you mentioned that many people see your work as decorative.
Yes.
How's that possible?
Colors, you know, they're just reacting to the colors and the visuals in the work. Sometimes they don't take the time to understand the meaning behind it, the symbols behind it, or even the story behind it. And then when they find out about the story, it makes it special. It's not just something nice hanging on the wall.
Yes, right. Now these people, they come and they look at your work and they get it. Once you tell them the story, then it takes on a different meaning.
Oh, absolutely. It's funny how you see their eyes light up, especially you know, the story I told you about the guy shooting down
Yeah.
the 9 suns,
Right.
because that's the Chinese way to explain the phenomena of only one sun in our universe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you know what I heard though?
What's that?
I heard that there were 11 suns.
Really?
And he missed one.
Well, he did miss one.
No, he missed two. I was saying he missed two.
Oh, okay, missed two. Okay.
All right. Okay. So now, okay. So, oh yeah. What's your like? Oh yeah. Here's what I want to know. So now, when you're doing your work and you're running up and down wherever you go to show your work. By the way, where are you showing your work recently? In the United States.
I'm going to be at the La Quinta Art Festival. I think that's March 2nd through 5th.
Okay. Where's
And
that?
it's La Quinta, California, which is like close to Palm Springs, Palm Desert, around
Okay.
that area.
Okay.
It's one of the biggest art festivals nationally.
Cool, man.
Yeah,
Okay, so you're gonna sell out, right?
I sure hope so.
So now,
That's always the goal.
well, you know, what we'll do is we just take the clip we do tomorrow, we'll put it there next to the pieces and
Awesome.
yeah, right.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do have electricity in the booth, so we can do.
Yeah, you do that, man. So
Yeah.
now here's a question for you. Now, you know, we're now, whether we want to or not, we're global. You know, we're global in scope.
Right.
And you're doing Chinese art. Now, the mythology of the Chinese mythology, how does it relate to like the global story and being cosmopolitan?
I wouldn't say that it relates to modern day cosmopolitan things. I would say that everyone should just take a step back, take a breather from everyday things, and enjoy some nice stories from the past.
Right.
And, you know, just taking a step back from the fast-paced world of technology.
I think that's a good idea. And for me, though, I think that, well, you know, you're coming from the Chinese, but you did some Japanese work too, some Japanese images, right?
I do some, not very much, because I'm not that familiar with Japanese mythology, because I didn't grow up there. My Japanese works, I was doing Japanese works because my publisher that I worked for back in 1984 through 1995, he was Japanese,
Oh,
and he preferred Japanese work. So he encouraged me to do some Japanese paintings, but the bulk of my work is actually Chinese, and that's what has meaning for me, is the Chinese work.
how did you hook up with this publisher? I mean, is that out of college or high school?
He saw me at a little art show that I was sharing a show with somebody at Kahala Mall. You should know Kahala Mall,
Yeah,
right?
sure, no problem. Right.
And every weekend, they would highlight different local artists, and you can sign up for that. Is it the weekend or maybe the whole week? I can't even remember. Could be the weekend, could be the whole week, in the middle of the mall there. And the publisher, Stevenson Higa of Images International, he came by and he saw my artwork, saw promise in the artwork, and he kept track of my work for the next, I would say, 9 months. And then he approached me to try out some of my paintings in his gallery there in Waikiki.
Wow.
And in the end, I was under exclusive contract to them for 84 through 1995.
What does that mean, exclusive contract?
Well, anyone who wanted my work had to buy it through them, be it a gallery or retail. You know, so I was exclusive to them. They paid me X number of dollars for each piece, which he turns around and he sells to galleries that, you know.
Yeah, right. I got it. So
Yeah.
so he committed to selling for you X number of pieces a year. Is that what it was?
Well, all my pieces, anything I painted went to them.
Really? And they sold
Everything
it?
I painted,
That's good.
anything.
So here's a question I have for you. With all the time you put into the silk paintings in particular, how do you have so much work? I mean, I see you have a lot of work.
Well, that's over a span of how many years?
Okay, so okay, so now
I
you
really don't do that many. And that's why I started doing some small pieces
yes,
and some pieces on paper because they're much faster. Plus, they don't take as much time. Therefore, I don't charge as much for them so that people who could only afford my limited editions before, now they have a chance to own an original for
right,
maybe roughly the same price or just slightly more than what it would take to own a limited edition.
right. That's a smart move, and I'm happy you're doing that so we can get out.
But everyone should have a chance to own artwork. This is one of my pet peeves about
Mhm.
some of the art festivals I've done. They want strictly originals. They don't allow reproductions or limited editions. Problem with that is only people who have the disposable income for
Right,
original
right.
can buy something. And everyone, I think, should have the opportunity to own something beautiful that they love,
Right.
be it a limited edition or a poster even.
Yeah.
You got to start somewhere. Nobody starts at a $5,000 original out of the blue. Very few people start their collection that way.
So let me ask you this. Have you heard of Stefan?
Not, I don't know.
Stefan,
What's the
Stefan
last name?
Simkowitz. Simkowitz. He's
No.
he's the bad boy of the art market.
Oh.
He's a flipper. He flips.
What does that mean?
That means I'll buy your work today, right? Say it's 3,500. I'll buy a piece from you 3,500,
Uh-huh.
and maybe 18 months from now, I'll sell it for twice that amount.
Oh, you mean like investment art?
I guess, but it's like yeah, you would call it that, but it's a flipping. They take it. The traditional approach is to hold a piece for a long time,
Uh-huh.
but the flipper's approach is it's like flipping a house, right?
Yes. Okay. I get what you're getting at.
Yeah.
When people ask me, how much do you think your artwork would be worth in 5 years? Well, it's whatever someone will pay for it, And I always tell them, don't buy art because of what you think what money you can make from it. You buy it because you love it. I have an art dealer who made the perfect analogy. She said, buying art is like acquiring a spouse. Very easy to get, very hard to get rid of later.
Can be, it can be, but that brings another topic up. For me, I think the art industry is a commodity. And it's not, like you say, because of the love of it. People are saying, well, if I buy this thing, it's a thing, what can I get for it later? Because that's the concept we have in our heads.
That's a terrible way to buy art.
On the other hand, instead of saying, hey, this commemorates a legend, a mythology that I can look at and enjoy in my home that keeps me balanced, that's a different thing.
Right. It should, when you buy it, I always tell people, buy the work that speaks to you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You buy something that 10 years from now, you're still able to look at it and say, I love this like I saw it the first time.
Well, now here's an issue. Now, a lot of the big galleries over here in New York, they're staffing their galleries, their management staff, their leadership staff with people from the fashion industry.
Really?
Uh-huh. And in the fashion industry, things go in and go out on a cycle, right?
Yes.
Right? And
Yes.
so I think it was some magazine I was reading. I said, well, what is that all about? Are they telling us that we're going to be, changing, artwork like they change clothes?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's more of the same thing. It's not having it for the long term to say I enjoy it. It's having for it's an investment. It's a commodity.
Well, in a way, one of my collectors said to me a few days ago, he has a lot of my work.
Mm-hmm.
His son just had a new baby. Okay. And my collector was saying to me how the younger generation now, the millennials, the 20-something, 30-something now, they're just not into collecting in the long run. They're much happier paying for something that suits them for the moment. It's not even about how much they can get for it later on. It's about something that they enjoy right now, but 3 years from now, they'll just redo the whole collection, just throw it out and start anew.
That's what I'm saying about the flipping.
Yeah.
See,
And I just don't understand.
well, no, it's easy to understand because look, see this thing here? This is my phone, right?
Uh-huh.
You have one too, right?
I had a flip phone for 12 years.
Oh, okay, Captain Kirk, beam me up. But the point I'm trying to make is that every 18 months, what happens?
Yes. They
All
get
right?
a new iPhone. Yes,
Right.
a new smartphone.
Right. So those guys were raised on that type of thinking.
That's right. That's right. And even in real estate, most of them prefer to rent now as opposed to buying a house.
That
Because
makes sense. It makes sense.
it's the same thing. Because they say, well, who knows where I want to live in 3-4 years? I don't want to be tied down to a house for 3-4 years.
Well, not only that, owning a house is like, unless you have a multi-family house, it's like slavery because the house owns you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, you never own it because after you pay the mortgage, you still have to pay the local tax.
Taxes and yes, utilities.
Yeah, right. Well, that's okay. Utilities is okay. I got a question for you.
Yes.
Now check this out, man. Like, the guys say you have gas on your property, right? You own a big piece of property. There's gas on it.
Okay.
And the utility company says, look, Carolyn, we're going to give you X amount of money for us drilling on your property to take out the gas. You say, cool. And utility takes the gas and it takes it wherever it does, and it makes heat. That's good. Now, the utility paid you for that. Utility owns the pipes. But now, where I live, they have these, on the telephone poles, they have solar panels.
Right.
Now, the utility they pay for the panel, they pay to put it on the pole, but they don't pay for the sun.
That's true.
so my question is, who owns the sun? I mean, like, what? You have air rights, right? You have air rights for a high-rise building, right? But you get sun rights coming to your house or something? It's just an oddball
That's an interesting question. I never stopped to think about that.
Well, I have too much time on my hands, as you can see, I think. But I mean, I'm thinking back to your collector friend who has your work. I think the millennials will shift over shortly because they're just like overage teenagers, sort of like they're still growing.
Yes.
So I really worry about that because what's going to happen is his son's going to want to take his dad's collection of your work because it's really good.
That's every parent's nightmare, is that the artwork that they've paid so much money for and have treasured over the years, the kids don't want it. And when they die, meaning the parents die, the kids will have a big garage sale and sell it off. That's what one of my collectors did to me.
That's true. A lot of people, that is a concern.
Yes.
And that's rightly so because cycles change.
Yes, very much so.
Cycles change. So you have Impressionism, that's one thing. Then you have, abstract modernism, that's something else. So cycle changes.
Right.
It's the wise person who says, okay, these are the cycles. Sun I'm going to put it, I'm going to make sure you hold on to this. I'm going to put it in writing so you have to hold on to it so that maybe not you, but your son will be able to take advantage of
Right.
it. So that's a service that you could provide to your collectors as well. Just a verbal, conversation.
Okay.
Just say, hey, that's what I would recommend. Okay, so how do you stay sharp, and what's your continuing education procedure?
Well, I don't have any.
Okay.
I actually get books on Chinese mythology, and I read these stories, and they give me inspiration as to what I should paint next. As I'm reading it, I'm formulating some kind of image in my mind,
Oh, okay.
and that's what I paint.
So for you, the reading of the mythology helps you be a better storyteller.
Yes.
How is that?
I'm sorry?
How is that possible? How does that work for you?
Well, how does reading it make it?
In other words, I'm asking the question because there's some people I know have difficulty telling stories. And I know it's self-evident. I understand that, but I'm just asking you to go through the process, the internal process.
Oh, well, as I'm reading it?
Well, let's say you read the story, you see the image, and that way you have a romantic feeling about it.
I have a feeling about it. I want to depict the story at a certain point that I feel speaks most to me about that story.
Okay, I got you. And then, so now, is it easy for you to go from the invisible, from the intangible to the tangible? That is, from the story in your mind to putting it on the canvas?
It's tough sometimes, but I don't think too much about it. I just do it. Could go through a series of maybe 4, 5, 6 different sketches before I get to the final one.
Right.
I'm happy with.
I got you.
But basically, I have certain elements I want to incorporate in that story.
What are those elements?
Well, for example, the one with the lady in the moon, obviously a moon in there with the rabbit in there somehow.
Okay, I got you.
So that my paintings of that particular story, most Chinese people, when they look at that painting, say, oh, that's Chang'e. They recognize her right off the bat.
Right. Okay. So now do you put much attention to composition?
Yes, absolutely. And for me, the composition either makes or breaks the image.
Absolutely.
You have a poor composition, it just goes nowhere. Even with color on it, it doesn't hide the fact it's a poor composition.
Yeah, right. You can't hide that fact. You can't hide.
No.
So let me see what else we got here. Got that. Okay. So, where do you see yourself in the art world today? I mean, are you a maker or a shaker, a candlestick maker? Are you one of the high risers?
Oh no. I prefer not to even go there.
Okay.
It's not something that I'm not trying to be like a premier artist or anything. I just want to do something that I enjoy doing, that I can wake up every morning and say, I'm happy doing what I'm doing.
Right. And also, I will add that you're giving something back. I mean, your work is it's great. So you're giving something to the people. I mean, I saw that.
Hopefully, that would be nice. It's always my hope that people see in the piece what I see in it.
Well, I know they hit me. I said, wow. I said, whoa, man, this is good, man. It's like tight, man. Boom, bam, boom. But it has all that.
Sometimes too tight. I say to myself, why is it I can't go loosen up? But my brain just doesn't go there. It's like I see some of these fantastic contemporary paintings that are abstracts. My brain just doesn't go there. My brain doesn't work that way. I would love to be loose and free. I don't know how.
So let me ask you this. In some way, I mean, um, what is your feeling towards the abstractionists? Is that something that I sense that you admire that? The question.
I admire certain abstract pieces.
Yes.
It's very difficult, contrary to belief of some folks out there who never paint. They think abstracts are easy, so when they don't know how to paint, they go into abstracts. It's harder to do a good abstract
Yeah.
than it is to do a good representational piece.
Yeah, because you have no definite preconceived.
Exactly. And the color is so vital in an abstract.
That's what makes the piece, the color.
Yes, exactly. And in a representational piece, in realism, you can admire how the artist captured the skin tones, the folds of the robes, etc., etc. But in abstract, it's there. It's either good or it's bad. You don't have medium.
That's true. That's true. I agree with you, man. And and then there is a resurgence of the representationals coming back.
Yes, and I'm happy to see that. In fact, I was watching your broadcast on, I think his name, Eric.
Yes, Eric. Yeah.
What's the last name?
Our music. Yeah, our mix. Yeah, he's the guy from Jerry's. He's a Jerry's man.
He's what?
Jerry sponsors him.
Oh, okay. He is phenomenal. His work is phenomenal.
Right.
I love figurative paintings, and I assume he does oils, because that's, I think, to try to achieve something like that with acrylic, it's hard. Oils, it's something about oils. The skin tones are so beautiful, and they look like real people.
Right. And as I look at you, I know there's a particular image in your ladies that I know who the face is. It's your face.
I have a lot of people ask me that, but no, I don't consciously try to paint myself in the painting, but they do say every artist subconsciously puts himself in his own painting.
I said, man, that's that same face.
I wonder what Picasso thought.
Oh, well, he was like, or worse, Dali, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, Dali, in the beginning, he was very representational.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I have to tell you a story. I spent a year in Madrid, and I went up to Barcelona a couple of times, and I went to the Picasso Museum. And at that time, it was during the time of Franco, so Picasso was out. He was like a communist or something.
Right.
But there is in Barcelona, they had a Picasso museum. It's like a 9x12.
Small.
Yeah, it was 9x12.
How did it hold the Guernica?
No, that's what they had back. But here's the amazing thing, Carolyn, is that during that time I saw the work they had in there. I went in to expect Picasso,
Right.
It was representational.
Yes, he was representational in his early days.
Yeah. You know that when he did the communion, right?
I don't know that one, no.
The first communion,
Oh, yes.
That, that was his thing. But it just blew me away that I didn't think of him being representational. I always thought of him as being abstract or cubistic. And,
right.
and that's what, learning about it, he progressed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes him really stand out in the world, that he was an artist who progressed in his work.
Right. Well, that's, I think a lot of contemporary abstract artists started as representational.
Oh, really? Okay.
And drew from that and evolved into what they're famous for.
Mm-hmm.
I think even, who was it? trying to think of that guy's name. Anyway, never mind. That's what was the guy's name? Impressionist guy.
Which one? Oh,
Matisse.
Oh, Matisse. Okay.
He only started painting when he was in his 40s, I think. But in the beginning, his work was not as abstract. No, I shouldn't say abstract. They wasn't as impressionistic as what it had evolved into. But I was surprised to find out about Picasso being so representational in the beginning part of his life.
Well, it's like this here. If you a jazz musician, right? A jazz musician is classically trained.
That's right.
Okay, but then takes it to the next level.
Right.
See, whereas you have some people, and saying the Boston Pops, they do semi-jazz. And because their audience the audience can't go any further, so they keep it at a certain level.
Right.
But the training is classical. Everybody knows the same stuff. Do with it that counts.
Right.
How you see it or how you hear it. So how do you see yourself in the art world today?
What do you mean by that?
Well, I think you answered the question. You see yourself as a person who makes, who does what she likes to do.
Yes.
Hopefully people like what you do.
Yes, I don't aspire to anything more than that.
And that's well said, Confucius. I like that.
And hopefully people see in my artwork what I'm trying to convey. That's all.
Okay, now one last question. So now, where do you see art in the next 100 years or next 50 years? What's going to happen?
Well, I sure hope that representational art doesn't give way to just computer art or digital art. That stuff has its place somewhere, but it shouldn't be taken over completely. And I've seen computer generated images. I can't help. This is just me. Okay. I've spent years of my life getting to this point, painting, with a brush and paints like that. I'd hate to see it come to a point where images can just be reproduced on a computer and spit out. I have one great artist friend who can paint the most beautiful representational pieces. He's into computer stuff now because he says, well, it's so much faster and I have it exactly the way I want it. And now all I do is do prints from this. There's no original. And I think that's such a shame. It's just such a shame.
Well, it's like one of those science fiction movies, right? That, the computers take over.
Yeah, the clones take over.
Yeah, it's like that. I mean, because I had a similar thought. I mean, like, gee whiz, man. Like, it'll be not by Carolyn Young, but by Robot 2.
Yeah. R2-D2.
Yeah, right. I mean, so like, are we then like, okay, maybe that particular expression, that phenomenon is like some people, they sag their pants and we object to that. Are we like the guys who object to pants sagging, or like reacting to the art?
I object to pants sagging.
Yeah, right. We do. But I'm just saying,
I don't want to walk around the street and see someone's, hanging.
Here's what they say: don't look. Well, how can I not look? Your stuff.
I know it's right there in front of me.
Yeah, right.
You are too much. You are so much fun.
Man, it's like a crazy world we live in, man. It's the rabbit world. All right, so I think that's, I forgot. What is this gong bai? What's that?
Oh, gong bi.
Gong bi, right.
Gong bi is the technique I use for painting. there are different techniques for Chinese brush painting.
Uh-huh.
One is the one-stroke method, where it's very fast and loose, mostly for flowers and birds. You fill your brush up with a light color, dip the tip of the brush into a darker color, and with one stroke onto rice paper, the dark blends into the light. That one is the one-stroke method. Gongbi is totally different. Gongbi is layers on layers of washes.
Oh, that's your method. That's
shading. What I do is doing the darker color and washing out the tones with a brush that's filled with water. You have two brushes, one brush filled with color, the other filled with water. You put a little bit of color in there, and with the brush with water, you blend it out to get the gradations in shading.
Wow, man. I'm going to nominate you for the I'm going to nominate you for the Smithsonian.
No, nominate me for being masochistic, doing that type of
I was
work.
going to say, that's like, oh my God. I mean, my God.
That's a very masochistic way to paint.
You know? So, hey, you know what, Carolyn? I'm going to send you a computer.
There. I have to learn to use it first. I mean, even today, I had no idea what I was doing. I get up, and this morning I said to Les, how do you set this thing up? How am I going to do this? And Les, that's why every time, tomorrow, which, by the way, what time are we doing this tomorrow?
Well, you want to do it at 1 o'clock your time.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, good. And I just wanted to double check.
Right.
So I need for him to be here to set this up, because I have no idea what.
No
I'm
problem.
not watching him.
Even if he doesn't come exactly at 1 o'clock, just let me know.
Okay.
So that's how we're gonna roll, all right?
Okay, great.
Was that cool, man?
Very good. Thank you so much. It was totally enjoyable for me.
I told you I was an easy guy, man. I think I would jump through the screen and get you.
I love it. You're much easier than I thought you were going to be. I thought, oh boy, they're going to ask about some, what is it? Art for art's sake questions. I thought, I'm just painting. I don't know anything.
You know why I wrote those questions out? It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. I don't go by questions.
Okay.
It was for you, because that's what Les told me you wanted questions.
Okay. I thought you did this all the time.
Nah.
Because see, that was less.
Yeah, because to me, it's like, quiet is kept. It's like being on a blind date, right?
Yeah.
You just talk. What do you need? Wait, let me. Oh, I didn't ask this. That's not how you. That's not how you do people, right? You know what I mean?
Well, I do have to say, I gave an interview one time to a magazine writer.
Yes.
And she asked some really weird questions. She says, so how many times have you been married? I said, well, Les is my third husband. And do you have any kids? I said, no, I don't have any kids. And she said, you don't have any kids. You've been married 3 times. You don't have any kids. What kind of birth control do you use?
What?
I know. I said, what? I said, that has nothing to do with it.
Oh, hey, Carolyn, you say, tell you what, baby, tell you what. I'll say you something if you just stop. Give me another question. I'll say you mine. Man, that is crazy.
That is a weird question.
So what did you do I would have said, look, I think the interview's kind of over, right?
No, I didn't say, you know what? My being Asian, we have such a fear of offending. I would never come out and say that. But in my brain, I just shut down.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a chill. It's like it's a chill. It's like, whoof. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah, that's right. And then when I saw the article, you know how you and I are talking, and I try not to go, but it's a natural thing for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, and I'm not a natural born speaker.
Okay.
So I tend to have filler words, and she wrote them all down. It made me look like a real idiot when the article came out.
Excuse me. It wasn't you, Carolyn. It was her.
Yeah.
So look, we'll meet tomorrow, and
Okay.
you know it's going to be great, man. And you know, let's think about taking the clip tomorrow. I'll send. You want me to send a copy of this over to you today?
No, that's fine. I'm good with what we did today.
Okay. So
That's fine.
I just archive this, and we'll meet at.
No, you know what? On second thoughts, yes, go ahead and send it to me. I think that it would be nice for me to have. Yes.
That's what I would think too, right? So this way you can, like, you know. But I mean, tomorrow will be totally different. The major thing is that we got acquainted, and
Yes.
it'll be a easier flow. That's all.
Okay. When you said totally different, I'm hoping it's more like today because I really
Oh
feel
no,
comfortable.
no. I mean, it could be like today. I'll rephrase my statement. And you know what? When I said that, I said, "Oh my God, why did I say that? It's gonna freak her out."
I guess it did.
what I mean is, we're gonna build on what we did today,
Okay.
all right? So
Okay.
this will be our second date, and it'll get better. And so, I'll meet you at 1:00 your time.
Okay, great. Hey, can I ask you for one thing? Let's not talk about where do you see art going in the next 100 years.
Sure.
I have no idea.
No problem.
I don't.
Carolyn, here's the thing. If it's a question like that, you say, you know what, Bill, it's a good question. I really don't know.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Complete ignorance.
you can
Yes.
tell me. You can tell me.
Okay.
And the only difference between today and tomorrow is I'll shave. That's it.
I have to look at you.
I gotta shave tomorrow. You see, I'll be lighter and brighter tomorrow. I gotta get my beard on today.
I can't tell because the picture is so small.
I know.
On
Let's
this
see.
laptop. I can't tell that you didn't shave.
Yeah, let me see how we're gonna do it. We do it like this. Here you go. Okay.
Fantastic. It's
Okay.
great meeting you. I
Thank
really enjoyed myself today. Thank you.
Yes, me too. You know, so I'll see you tomorrow at 1:00 your time.
Okay.
All right, peace out.
Great. Have a good one.
Yep. Give my regards to Les and tell him my thanks for everything, and hope he has a perfect doctor's report.
He will.
All right.
Thank you,
See,
Bill.
you got the Ungawa, baby. Go ahead on.
What's that?
Ungawa.
Ngor? You mean?
You know what Ungawa is?
No,
Didn't you watch Tarzan movies?
no.
Oh, that's why you don't know what Ungawa is, man.
What is Ungawa?
Who knows? It's something the natives said in Africa. It was in Tarzan movie. Ungawa. That's no one knows what Ungawa means. They just made it up.
Maybe the apes did it.
Yeah, something like that. You know, Ungawa. You know, no one knows.
Yeah.
But we can say that. You got the Ungawa. Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Carolyn.